Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Pertama sekali saya ucapkan terima kasih kerana sudi untuk enroll dalam kelas untuk kali ini, dalam sesi yang saya terpaksa buat secara video recording ni, untuk kelas hari ini. So as you can see from the slide that I am showing now, you can see that our topic that we want to discuss about project management for development teams. Project management for development teams. So the most important point that we have to bear in mind, bila kita bincang tentang project management ni, dia tidak boleh lari daripada elemen yang kita bincang daripada awal dalam kelas-kelas sebelum ni berkaitan dengan leadership, So dan leadership ni, bila kita sentuh tentang leadership, maknanya kita akan bekerja dalam satu pasukan. So we need to know how to develop teams, and then from there once we have an assignment to manage a project, that means we can see that's how our team is most very important element, that our key factor, key success factor for our project. So before we go more further about that, we should know about what you can see from here. A few point of overview about project management. The first one that we must remember, project, bila sebut saja project management, that means we need that's a first point that we have to very clear goals about project management. So project management for development team starts with defining clear goals. So kalau you ada project, contohnya project student pun, kita dalam persatuan, ataupun you ada project small project dalam you punya perancangan bisnes dan sebagainya, you have to define a clear goal. That means that goal must be can follow the guideline like a SMART acronym here. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound, to provide a very clear direction for the teams. Kalau tidak, nanti kita punya team member tak tahu apa sebenarnya bidang tugas ataupun ke arah mana mereka nak pergi. And the second one that we must define our scope. Project managers work with stakeholders and the development team to define the project scope. This involve identifying features, functionalities, deliverables of the project. Kerana kita buat projek dalam sesuatu perniagaan contohnya, so kita kena tahu kita akan terlibat dengan stakeholders ataupun pihak-pihak yang ada kepentingan, dan mereka tentu especially kumpulan-kumpulan yang ada kaitan dengan ataupun yang kita sebutkan sebagai mereka yang berkepentingan ni, kemungkinan kita punya board of director yang tentu akan ingin melihat apakah apa kejayaan projek, sesuatu projek itu berjaya ataupun gagal melalui ukuran mungkin kewangan ataupun ukuran dari sudut kesan pada projek daripada projek tersebut. And then planning and scheduling, ini kalau kita tengok dalam subjek project management, planning and scheduling ni satu tugas yang sangat penting untuk kita prepare. Kita ada beberapa tools. Kalau you boleh tengok dalam tools yang ada di website atau di internet, try Google, you akan dapat banyak tools yang berbayar dan free. Even berbayar, maksudnya proses membuat perancangan dan penjadualan, planning and scheduling ni is a very important milestones guideline for us. untuk kita come out with setiap step dalam satu projek tersebut. Okay, and then resource allocation ini pun penting juga. Bila kita sudah prepare perancangan, dah clear objektif, of course, di situ kita akan cuba mendapatkan necessary resources, including our skill personnel. Okay, also very important, most important one. And then kita akan melihat risk management dalam project management ni. Project managers must identify the potential risk and development strategies to make sure that we can respond with that potential risk. Okay. This includes contingency plan. That means kalau sekiranya dalam sesuatu projek, contohnya macam saya pernah terlibat dengan projek civil projek atau projek pembangunan, so kita akan ada masa-masa yang kita tidak boleh menjalankan kerja-kerja disebabkan oleh faktor cuaca. Contohnya kita nak buat earthwork ni makna kerja-kerja ratakan tanah, uruskan tanah dulu. So kadang-kadang machinery tak boleh nak masuk sebab apa? Musim hujan. So di situ kita kena ada backup plan. Kalau sekiranya sebab masa still berjalan. And then communication and collaboration, ini adalah faktor yang sangat penting dalam kita memastikan suatu kejayaan projek tersebut. Kalau sekiranya kita gagal membina ataupun menetapkan komunikasi dan collaboration yang berkesan, of course kita akan loss ataupun miss communication a lot in our project management punya proses. And agile methodologies, that means kita boleh guna berbagai kaedah, tapi cubalah guna seperti yang kita lihat kat sini, Scrum and Kanban to manage their project. Ini adalah satu metodologi yang sangat baik dan well established, okay, yang akan membantu kita untuk menguruskan projek. And then of course quality assurance must be there. So project managers oversee the quality assurance process to ensure that the final deliverables must meet the desired standard. That means we have to make sure that we are we have a very clear understanding about the quality what's the quality and then monitoring and reporting. This is also one part of communication between you as a project manager dengan stakeholders or your board director or anybody. Okay. Adaptability and flexibility, that means project management for development teams require adaptability and flexibility. Di sini kita lihat project manager should be prepared to handle changes in requirements, shifting priorities and unexpected challenges. Okay. So as a project manager, kita kena ada kebolehan untuk respon dengan beberapa mungkin perubahan-perubahan yang akan berlaku dalam proses pelaksanaan project management tersebut. Kemudian continuous improvement. This is one point that we have to touch about culture, to promote the culture about continuous improvement within the development teams. So that means this encourage our teams to make sure that they are very transparent, to communicate each other, and then of course from there they can learn something, maybe mistake. Of course we cannot avoid and so nobody perfect. We cannot avoid mistake. Sometimes we have to learn from the mistake. Okay, not only particularly for the current project, but also to optimize what we can see from here the future project. Okay, and then there are some key function within project developments. First one, that's generation of ideas. This function involve brainstorming and generating innovative ideas for the project. Okay, so this first step, what we can see from how we have to learn how important of us to give a chance for everybody in the team, okay, to come up with their ideas. Itu yang penting, kita kena tahu proses untuk kita menggalakkan inovasi. Kita tidak boleh mencampurkan proses brainstorming dengan proses respon ataupun evaluation of the ideas. Okay, so kalau sekiranya kita campurkan, dia akan mengekang, what we call as psychologically safety will be reduced when we try to evaluate ideas that we generate from brainstorming session. So biasanya kita akan buat brainstorming session without any argument first. Okay, after that's brainstorming session, then we can maybe zoom in or try to evaluate the ideas that we think we can implement. Alright, the second function is defense. The defense function involved at advocating for project goals, objective, availability. Okay, so resources need for this function include project managers, okay, team leaders, right, stakeholders who can effectively communicate and justify project importance and benefits. The third one, the contact outside the project. Okay, this is another third function, as we have to maintaining communication and coordinating with external entities. Ini sangat penting sebab kita tidak menjalankan sesuatu projek dan tanpa melibatkan pihak-pihak yang kita akan communicate, seperti vendor, suppliers, and some others relevant stakeholders here. Alright, and then the key function that within the project development project, of course, sponsoring involve securing necessary resources such as funding, manpower and infrastructure. Di sinilah kadang-kadang ada setengah organisasi yang besar, dia menggunakan kaedah yang kita istilahkan sebagai leveraging of our resources. Okay, dia buat satu projek yang di bawah anak syarikat ataupun di dalam ruang lingkup kepakaran mereka. Contohnya apabila kita lihat mungkin Mitsubishi, you akan nampak Mitsubishi ni is a very big company. From there, kadang-kadang kita akan nampak beberapa line of product yang lebih kurang ataupun menggunakan kepakaran yang lebih kurang sama. Okay, contohnya macam you tengok Mitsubishi ada supply lift ataupun escalator. So from there you can see ada kepakaran Mitsubishi dalam machine ataupun dalam engine development. Okay, so di situlah kita menggunakan sumber ataupun kepakaran daripada dalam organisasi tadi. Okay, and then of course function for development project is a project management itself, di mana akan melibatkan coordinating, planning, scheduling and monitoring. Okay, then development team. Okay, development teams ini akan lebih mudah apabila kita telah clear kita punya objektif ataupun scope tadi. Okay, bila kita buat satu projek berkaitan dengan scope, contohnya dalam sebagaimana sebagai contoh tadi, dalam Mitsubishi mungkin dia akan develop line business yang lebih kurang sama dengan kepakaran yang ada dalam main ataupun mother company. So di situ kita akan nampak mungkin development team ni tadi dia akan ambil daripada mother company juga. So quality assurance is also function that we need to include in our key function here. Okay, documentation and reporting. Okay, and then training and support. Okay, and then change management. Okay, managing and adapting to changes within the project is necessary for success. So resources need for change management include change manager, change control board, and communication channel. Okay. Okay, dan di mana saya ada sentuh berkaitan dengan quality assurance tadi. Pertama sekali kita kena faham konsep of quality tersebut ataupun definition of quality. There are no ones what we call as a ones satu definisi yang boleh diguna pakai untuk keseluruhan. There are what we call as there are no unity definition for quality. If we try to search from internet, there are a lot of definition that can be defined as a quality, and lot of perspective, different perspective of quality according to different background of scholars. If you refer for scholars from Japan, for example, they are maybe have a different perspective how to define a quality. And if you refer to maybe Western scholars, then you can see a lot of maybe different compared with Japan scholars about the quality. So for the purpose of our class, maybe we can see the general definition. Quality that refers to degree to which a product, service or process meet or exceed a customer expectation. So kalau dilihat daripada pembacaan yang saya pernah baca, kebanyakan quality measures ataupun quality konsep ni dia akan sentuh tentang customer punya satisfaction or expectation. Okay, there are no point you have a lot of certification of quality, ISO and so on, but you not exceed or meet the customer expectation. Okay, all of this tool like what I mentioned earlier about the ISO, semua benda tu memang bagus dan memang perlu untuk kita, salah satu daripada kaedah untuk kita bersaing di peringkat antarabangsa, di mana orang akan lihat juga you punya certification ataupun you punya standard of quality that you hold. Tapi yang paling penting apabila kita sentuh tentang strategi or kita kaitkan dengan business strategi, we need to make sure that will align with our objective. The same goes to here when we discuss about project management. Okay, kita dah bincang tadi project management perlu ada clear definition and scope. So from there we can set our standard for our expectation, customer expectation. Okay, you can see from the second point still we mention about customer. See, okay, so quality and customer is quite close relation, quite very significant among together here, right? And then quality measures, okay, kita boleh guna banyak tools, dan kalau di Malaysia ni kita sangat popular tentang ISO. So itu pun kita boleh gunakan sebagai salah satu daripada kaedah untuk kita memastikan kualiti standard kita selari dengan target ataupun sasaran customer punya expectation. So quality measure can be objective or subjective. Objective measure are based on factual data and can be measured quantitatively. Okay, apa contohnya? Macam contoh kita tengok, okay, berapa peratus kepuasan pelanggan ataupun berapa peratus kita punya kecekapan kita dalam memastikan barang yang kita hasilkan, katakan 95% ataupun 5% saja defect. Tu kita punya measure, quality measure. So 5% saja yang ada defect contohnya. So that's quality standard we set. And subjective measure are based on perception and opinion. This one maybe we can ask our customer, or kita buat survey, customer satisfaction survey or feedback, something like that. Alright, so defect and defect rates, this is what we can relate with the previous point here. And then a process efficiency measure. Okay, so the quality measure can also include a process efficiency indicators such as cycle time, throughput, and or response utilization. So this measure assess the effectiveness of the process. So ni yang kita dalam saya sebut tadi berkaitan dengan perception of quality, dari sudut pandangan Jepun. Contohnya dia melihat proses quality, proses efficiency itu sebagai quality yang sangat penting untuk dilihat. That's why they come out with the concept of Kaizen, the continuous improvements that we can see everyone should contribute. Maknanya kalau kita ada team member, every team member should contribute in term of quality effectiveness, based on their expertise. Contohnya kalau kita ada engineer dalam team kita, so that's engineer specific in maybe electrical engineer. So how that this team member, what we call as an electrical engineer, can contribute in term of maybe electricity saving power kan, ataupun dia mungkin akan memberi sumbangan dari sudut bagaimana dia dapat menjimatkan proses cycle sesuatu produk dengan menggunakan kepakaran dia sebagai electrical engineer. Okay, and then of course compliance with standard. Ini sekiranya kita duduk dalam sesuatu satu, saya pernah sebut dalam kelas, contohnya bila kita menghasilkan satu produk, sesuatu produk, Mazda dia menghasilkan kereta. So kereta dia, ada kereta yang dia boleh dipasarkan di Jepun, ada kereta yang dia tidak boleh pasarkan di Jepun sebab compliance of the standard. Okay, so there are no point if you come out with a very good product but you can't market it in your for your target market. Okay, continuous improvement, that's what we discussed before, and some benchmarking, one of the very important tool as well for us to have a quality measure, okay, in our project management. Bila kita buat satu projek, especially projek yang baru ataupun kurang kepakaran dalam kita punya alliance ataupun kita punya mother companies, so maybe benchmarking or one of very good process that we or tool that we can use to make sure that our quality must be there. And then data collection and analysis dalam quality punya discussion ni, ini antara benda yang memang sangat significant. Sebab tu bila kita buat ISO, there are a lot of documentation. Okay, ramai yang mengeluh tentang bila buat ISO ni, documentation tu menjadi satu perkara yang sangat memenatkan. Okay, and then cost of quality, of course, kita tidak dapat satu perkara tu free. Sebab tu satu barang yang quality ni kadang-kadang dia ada value dan nilai dia. Saya pernah tengok baru-baru ni bagaimana rupanya harga dakwat kaligrafi Jepun ni, harga dia satu buku ni kadang-kadang besar lebih kurang separuh daripada handphone kita. Dia boleh mencecah sehingga $2,000 harga dia. Tapi itu adalah disebutkan sebagai cost of quality, quality standard yang diorang letakkan, dan memang bukan senang untuk menghasilkan satu dakwat kaligrafi Jepun yang sangat quality. So in summary, quality and quality measures revolve around meeting customer expectation, assessing performance against defined criteria, and driving continuous improvement effort to deliver product or service that satisfy customer needs, right? Okay, to make sure that everyone involved in this class, and of course, I try to give a chance for those who maybe can't attend my class during that face-to-face class. Saya cuba untuk tak nak kedatangan yang tidak baik. Kadang-kadang ada juga, ada mungkin rakan kita yang ada masalah untuk datang pada waktu kelas yang ni. Termasuklah saya pun kadang-kadang ada masa yang saya tak dapat, macam hari ni saya tak dapat nak buat kelas face to face sebab ada majlis dengan pelajar baru. So I give you a task, individual task from this class to capture your attendance. So to capture your attendance, okay, I can check your attendance through this individual task. That means saya akan tick your attendance, okay. Saya akan kira you hadir untuk kelas hari ini, okay. Sekiranya you dapat hantar task yang saya bagi inilah, okay. This individual task dan submit dalam Turnitin ni. Saya ada tengok baru ni dalam Turnitin ada lebih kurang 11 orang yang dah masuk. Saya ingat mungkin tu dah cukup ramai lah, tapi saya akan double check berapa total kita punya jumlah pelajar dalam kelas ni. Okay, so ini berkaitan dengan Agile Project Management Reflection. Okay, so the objective of this task to reflect on the principles and practices of Agile Project Management and assess their effectiveness in development teams. The instruction is familiarize yourself with the principle and methodologies of Agile Project Management such as Scrum and Kanban. Okay, you can Google what Scrum or Kanban. Yang di situ nanti you akan belajar lah. You akan dapat explore apa yang dimaksudkan ataupun apa yang diterangkan berkaitan dengan Scrum and Kanban ni. Right? Reflect on your personal experiences or observation of working in a development team that follow agile practices. Consider the following aspect in terms of communication and collaboration, so iterative development, continuous development, then agile tools and technique, team dynamics, okay, and then create presentation summarizing your observation and reflection, include the following elements. So you boleh buat presentation ni dalam yang paling mudah adalah dalam PowerPoint lah, buat dalam PowerPoint. Mungkin dalam 10 ke 15 slide should be okay. Janganlah kurang sangat, jangan terlalu banyak sangat. So 10 ke 15 slide to summarize your observation and reflection. That's including the following elements. Maybe you can see this is a guide. Tapi kalau you nak guna sebagai content of your slide also can. Okay. You nak guna ni sebagai ataupun nak tambah lagi content selain daripada introduction, personal experiences, and then analysis and evaluation. You can extend your discussion ataupun you nak tambah pun boleh, nak kurang sedikit tetapi you explain more about maybe some particular point, so should be okay. And send it to Turnitin. To Turnitin, you can check in your Turnitin account. I already create an assignment for this individual task to capture your attendance for today's class. Okay, thank you very much. Terima kasih banyak. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Sekiranya ada apa-apa masalah, boleh raise your question in our WhatsApp group. Okay, thank you.